One of the things that I remember when I was in the military, we were on a boat living a carrier life. So anytime we would port and do any kind of port visit for 2 or 3 days, you would get a briefing first. So whether it was Thailand, whether it was Italy, wherever you were going, they would say, hey, before you go out there, Mr. Marine, Mrs. Marine, this is what you need to understand. Don't be showing people the bottom of your shoes, for example. Don't be waving at people, for example. Some cultures, making eye contact is offensive. Depending on where you are around the world will govern your decorum and how you're supposed to conduct yourself. It's not just America worldwide. You're an American worldwide, meaning an American in Japan means nothing to the Japanese government in a sense of they don't want you to get killed in a tourist incident because that's a bad look for, bringing in more Americans to spend money in their country. But if you as an American choose to do something silly, something foolish that's illegal here, well, we're going to arrest you and you're going to have to suffer the wrath of our government system just like you would in America. The unfortunate situation about Britney Griner today pleading guilty is July 7th. She finds herself pleading guilty to smuggling and possession charges, which are unfortunate because the only reason Britney Griner was there is to make her off-season money in Russia, which she makes $1 million a season playing internationally for Russia. Now, of course, there were some WNBA players trying to turn this into a political thing, trying to turn it into a woke thing and saying, well, the reason that she's there is because we women don't make money like the men do. But then you'd have to actually open the books and see how much money the WNBA generates, which is nothing compared to the NBA, which is $1 billion business. You have to look and see how much the players get paid based off how much money is available. Because if you're paying the same percentages, if I only have 1% versus somebody who has 50%, the 2, 3, 5% of 50 is different than 2, 3, 5% of 1. So if you're not generating money, you can't even take a percentage off of that because what's 5% of 0, children? And it's worse than that because it's negative numbers. So it's unfortunate to take a situation like Britney Griner being arrested out there in Russia, being caught with that vape cartridge. That's an unfortunate situation, but that's a person making a choice. And when you make a choice, it's not about what color you are. It's not about what gender you are. It's not about the type of person that you prefer to have sex with. It's about making a choice. So when you make a choice, you can't then retroactively say, well, the only reason that person made that choice is because of a situation that they chose. Meaning, I choose to be a WNBA player. If I know I am not going to make as much money as the other league, I should join that other league. What I can't do is shame a competitor for not paying me like my company pays me. I either have to ask for a raise in my company or I have to go somewhere else. And that's what Britney Griner was doing. She went somewhere else where her talents were better compensated, which was in Russia. Again, she makes $1 million a season playing there. The unfortunate thing is she has the familiarity with Russia. She should know the law. She should know. And this is what I was saying in the beginning. You have to know how to move when you're in certain places. Jay-Z, know how to move in a room full of vultures. And I'm not calling Russians vultures. I'm using the example of if you're in a different location than what you're used to, you have to survey the scene. You got to get a lay of the land, et cetera, et cetera. You know where you are. You're in Russia. You know the laws. At least you should know the laws. That's why you were trying to hide the cartridge. But they found it. And not only do you get the possession now, they're getting you with smuggling charges because, again, you were trying to hide paraphernalia, not just, being caught with it. So it's a very unfortunate situation Britney Griner finds herself in. I mean, we got senators in Russia that we can't even get home. So while it's an unfortunate story, it's sad. The unfortunate becomes sad because there's nothing that we as Americans can do. There's nothing we as like a sports fans or a basketball community. There's nothing that the WNBA can do, the NBA. So them wearing the T-shirts with her initials on it, them trying to shame America and the NBA by extension by saying, well, if y'all just paid women, she wouldn't even be over there. Because that would say, well, what if Britney Griner just wanted to travel? What if Britney Griner just wanted to travel? What if she wanted to go to Russia just because she enjoyed going to Russia for whatever reason? And she still did this. It wouldn't matter how much money she got paid in the WNBA. It's the action, and this is the consequence. So I wish her the best. I mean, Russia is not known to be soft on crime. I mean, they throwing out years. I was looking at this. They got one American doing 9 years for assault on a police officer. You got another guy who's being sentenced to 25 years for conspiracy. Of course, we got the senator that's detained there. So there are a few Americans detained in Russia. The thing about it is, Britney Griner committed a crime in Russia. So there's not much that Joe Biden or Britney Griner's wife, there's not much that anybody's going to be able to do for her, because this is her life and these are the actions she chose in her life. So let me know what you think. Do you think it's fair to criticize the pay gap as a reason why, or as a means of what contributed to this unfortunate sentencing? Do you think that Britney Griner should have known the laws better and she should have, held herself accountable to not bring this stuff in? Do you think do you think weed is worth this? I remember when Stephen A. Smith used to be like, stay off the weed. Sha'Carri Richardson, shout out to Sha'Carri Richardson. She broke a record, a qualifying record, but because she was playing in an international tournament, she got eliminated because of the weed. So Stephen A. Smith used to say this. He was more talking about like the football players back in the day, but he'd be like, stay off the weed. Now, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm just here to let you remember that actions have consequences. So you don't want to stay off that weed, you're going to have to stay in prison.